Good morning, hope you're all well. I'm Jamie, I'm a Commonwealth Games medalist and British champion swimmer. Now today we're looking at a lactate production session. So this is the kind of session you'll have seen from me in the past. This one's slightly different in that one, because at this point we're 2.5-ish weeks out from nationals, short course nationals, which is is getting really close. We're going to be wearing racing suits, and we're unlimited rest. So actually probably the last lactate production video you'll have seen, we're off about a 5-minute turnaround. So every 5 minutes we're going on the next rep. And that ends up building up the lactic acid really quickly. But then over the last few weeks, we've kind of alternated between one where we're going shorter rest. So we went 650s off 4 minutes, 550s off 3 minutes, and the next one is going to be 450s off 2 minutes, which is going to be really hard. We've alternated that with 6, 5. I'm not sure how we're going to decrease it in those last 2 weeks into the racing, but they're off unlimited rest. Now, a lot of the time, the unlimited rest is within the confines of the session time. So, for example, when we did 650s, we had to fit it in within a 2-hour session. That includes warming up and putting the suit on and then seeing what swim down we can get in. Now, what's good with this session, because this was done on a Monday night, we have to pull for 2.5 hours. So it means actually that we get a lot longer. And when I show you all the times at the end, you'll see I've put a bracket for the time, like a timestamp of when I actually did that swim, and you'll see the rest increasing as I went through the set, as I kind of needed more rest to recover to be able to swim as fast as possible. This session is all about hitting as fast as possible rep 1 and then trying to swim as close to that on each rep, and kind of in the same way. So if I'm whatever speed I am to 15, 25, 35, 50, they're the things I get the splits for. I want to be as fast as possible to each of those split. There's no kind of pacing. I'm not trying to do 550s as close together as possible, but I do want them as close together as possible. So I want them as close together as possible, going all out. So just before we get into that, as you might know, I'm partnered with Applied Nutrition, and actually from today, i.e. this Black Friday weekend, so I think Friday to Monday, the code Jingram, instead of getting you 20% off, will get you 35% off. So go and enjoy some savings. But yeah, let's get into some fast swimming. And here we start then with rep number 1. So like I say, this is kind of what we're aiming for here is basically as close to PB as possible. Now you've got to remember, especially when we talk about the times, all the times are from the stopwatch, but they're going to be pretty accurate, and definitely accurate between reps. So here we go then, rep number 1. And I really like that breakout now. I'm getting a lot more consistent with the dive and the breakout. Slightly long still into that wall, but having not started resting, I think that's kind of a little bit to be expected. Similar, I like the breakout there, and into the wall, finish there on 22.6, which is really exciting because my PB is 22.7. So yeah, really nice way to start the session. And that's also the fastest rep Lewis has ever got me in training. So when I talk about wanting to be consistent, or knowing that we're going to be consistent with the timing, that's what we've got here. Now a little bit longer into the wall there on the second rep, but actually still I'm liking the way the underwater's flowing, and the stroke rate here is a little bit higher. I think I'm probably a little bit not quite as good, but landed on the wall better, and that results actually in 22.7, so only a tenth slower, which is really nice. Rep number 3 then, and this kind of session, if you've done any of this kind of work yourself, you know that these sessions, the reps accumulate really quickly. So where you feel brilliant, rep 1, rep 2 suddenly is a bit ropey, and then 3, 4, 5 then become a slog. And like I said, when you see the timestamps, you'll see how long they took in between each, how long I end up taking in between each one. Rep 3 down there, 22.9, that one. So again, still pretty good. And what I really like with how these reps have been so far is that the way I'm swimming it is very similar. It's basically identical. Okay, and those time differences are just coming through the fatigue. So I'm 7 kicks, 5 strokes, then 11 kicks, 6 strokes. And there's actually not much variation that can happen within that. And here we go then, last rep of the session. So Lockie in the lane next to me, freestyle with fins. He's just finished 24, I think, 100's best average. So he did a nice job on that. Then came in to give us a race here. And first 25, we're similar. See who wins here to hand, me to hand or him to feet. It's pretty close. I was actually 6 strokes there. I fit in an extra little one, which I'm not really happy about, but it's kind of, I wasn't really thinking at that point. It's just kind of automatic. And I come in there, kind of bringing that time down. So yeah, Lockie had a nice turn there. And as we look at the breakdown, then we can see the 15 meters is pretty consistent, and that leads on into each of those splits. So 7.3 is the fastest that I was off the turn. Okay, and my fastest I've ever been in a race is 7.0. That was on the turn on a 100 fly. So that's pretty interesting. But 7.3 is the fastest I've been in this set. You can also see in the brackets at the end of each line is the stroke rate. So that's in cycles per minute. And so you can see there that I'm my fastest at around that 59.60. You can see there, maybe I started that 4th rep actually probably a little bit too early. And that's why the stroke rate stays at a little bit lower. Okay, then I took extra rest that whole 21 minutes then in between those last 2 reps. You see the stroke rate's higher, and that's where the time really is saved. So there we have it, session done. So yeah, as you saw there, I'm really happy with how I held the times as we went through. I'm really happy at how I held the skill and held the splits as well. I've been working on getting that starting that dive more consistent, and I've got a couple of cues now that I'm using to help me get off the block faster, but also to kind of use that athleticism that I've developed over, especially the last few months. We did box jumps the other day, and I was kind of the best I've ever been on any box jump variant by a mile. So it's kind of, for me, it's been hard to figure out how to transfer that into the start, but I think I'm definitely improving, and so it'll be interesting to see what that actually compares to in that racing scenario, and if I can hold that together. But I think that'll do from me. So that was the last kind of, I suppose, second to last really hard session before we start taper. Of course, taper, the principles of the taper, we still have to maintain that intensity, but we just bring the volume down. So like I say, I know I've got 450s off 2 minutes coming up this week, which is going to be really hard. And then we're just hitting speed, bringing in some more front end speed, I think, as well. So I'll definitely make sure to show you some of that, I think, at some point. Of course, if there's anything else you want to see from me, then please let me know. If you want any mentoring, any coaching, or any race analysis, you can go to my website, gingrumswimming.com. Applied Nutrition, as I said, this weekend, as you're watching it, because I know you're watching it as soon as it comes out, you can get an extra 15% off with Gingram. So Applied Nutrition, use Gingram to get 35% off this weekend. And apart from that, I will see you next time. Cheers.